Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to writing composition class. So before we begin, make sure you have your packet with you for week 5. We are on the brainstorming page, and make sure you have something to write with. Okay, today we will talk about introductions, narrow down ideas, develop a central idea statement. So just like every week, on Tuesdays, we start working on our central idea statement, and we start talking about the topic, and we start talking about developing your introductions. Let's start by reading our objective for today. Get ready. Students will be able to develop a central idea statement. Okay. So, quick refresher, and we're going to start with this discussion question. Why is your introduction important? Why is the beginning of your essay important? Think about that. The beginning of our essay is that moment where we need to bring in the reader, make them interested in what we have to say. We have to make our point, and we have to briefly state what we're about to talk about. The introduction is the first thing the readers read. It's the part that needs to capture their attention, like I mentioned, and you can do that by using a hook. And you also want to make them keep reading. So you don't want somebody to start reading your paper and decide, you know what, this is not that interesting. I don't think I want to read the rest. It's also the place where you make your point. This is where your central idea statement comes in. When you are stating that, you are also making your point. You're also letting the reader know exactly what the essay is going to be about. That way, like, they don't start reading your essay and they don't have an idea of, what direction you're going in. If you have your central idea statement, they'll be able to know what the reading's going to be, what the writing's going to be about, and they won't feel lost while they're reading. So let's begin testing our topics. So for homework, you were supposed to fill out your brainstorming box and narrow it down to at least 2 or 3 topics. If you have that topic already, you know what you want to write about. Maybe you're still kind of looking at 2 or 1 or 2 of them, maybe even 3 of them. This is a very helpful tool to help you test your topic and help you decide which one you would be more interested in. So you want to ask yourself these questions. You want to start with, is the topic something I have strong feelings about? Well, if you don't have strong feelings about it, how are you going to be able to give details? How are you going to be able to give an example or make a personal connection to the topic? If you don't have strong feelings about it, you can't do those things. But if you have really strong feelings about, which one from yesterday? About staying connected, well, maybe then you're on the right track. Then you can move on to number 2. Is the topic something I know a lot about? So you wouldn't want to write about something that you didn't know a lot about. You want to write about something that you know, something that is familiar to you. You don't want to write about something that you have no idea about, because the person reading your essay will definitely know that you don't know what you're talking about. So make sure that the topic you choose is something you know about. Number 3, can I describe this topic in great detail? Well, if you can't describe the topic in great detail, maybe it's because you don't really know a lot about it. So 2 and 3 kind of go together, because if you know a lot about the topic, you can describe it with lots of details. You can give examples. You can give some information about the topic. Number 4, would my audience be interested in this topic? So, not everybody likes the same things or experiences things the same way, and that's okay. But you could always inform the reader of something. So, for example, I was video chatting with a student today, and the student mentioned something about a piece of technology that they use using their computer specifically for online games. And I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard about it, But when they explained it to me, they explained it to me in a way that even though I don't know about it, I was able to leave the conversation learning something new. So that was really cool today. So you're never too old to learn something new. So even though I wasn't like super familiar with it, I was still interested because it was something I didn't know about. So definitely want to keep number 4 in mind when you are choosing your topic. And number 5, would my audience feel that reading about this topic was worthwhile? So one way that you can make the audience feel that reading your essay was worthwhile is by teaching them something new or informing them of something new, like what I mentioned happened earlier with the student. So if you are able to inform the reader, if you are able to give a really awesome example with lots of details or sensory details, then I think number 5 would definitely be a yes. So until you can answer 1 through 5 with a yes, that's when you know the topic is the topic for you. If at any point on any of these questions you say no or maybe, that's not the one for you. You gotta figure out a different topic. Something that you can say yes to all of them, because you're only going to feel confident in your writing if you can say yes to all of these questions, okay? So keep that in mind when you're selecting your topic if you haven't selected it already. And if you have selected already, you should make sure that you have an answer of yes to all of these questions. Every paragraph in the essay needs to have a checklist, and we started doing this last week, and I think it was very helpful because I've seen a difference and improvement in some of you guys' writing. So this is our expository introduction checklist. So your introduction needs to have a hook, you need to have details and some information, you need to have your central idea, which is one of, if not the most important part of your introduction, and you need to state your reasons briefly. So I have seen some students give me a hook and give me a little bit of information, but they don't give me the central idea, or they don't state the reasons. So when I read the introduction and I don't know where they're going with the essay, I don't know what's coming next, it seems kind of lost. So you need to make sure that you are making the central idea statement one of the most important things in your introduction. If you don't have it, it makes your essay very lost, very scrambled, and it looks like you are not really going through all of the checklists that I'm giving you every day of the week. It kind of looks like you're rushing into it like on Thursday night or Friday morning, because I can definitely tell the difference between a student who goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, watching all of the daily videos, doing 1 paragraph per day, versus a student who wrote it all in 1 day. I can definitely see the difference in that. So during distance learning, it allows us to have a little bit more time to work on our assignments, right? So take this time as something that is good. Take it and use it. Make sure you're going through the daily videos, going through every step of the writing process, and going through each paragraph with me, okay? So this is our checklist, and today is Tuesday, so we're working on the central idea statement because that's the most important part of the first paragraph. Okay, so here is my brainstorming page. These are my narrowed down ideas. I chose staying connected, research, and having safe internet browsing, but there are viruses sometimes. Because remember, the topic is asking us to write about moments that computers are helpful, but are limited, okay? And so for me, I decided to choose research. And I've already written out my central idea statement. And we're going to go through that in a moment. So I decided to choose research because this is something that I know a lot about. It's something that I can give examples for. And it's something that I feel passionate about because it's very important when you're looking for an answer to a question, or you're looking for some information to help you with a research project or any kind of project, really. And it's important for the research to be reliable and for the research to be true, because sometimes you can look for something on the internet and it's not always going to be true, or it's not always going to be backed up by facts. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're doing research and you're getting reliable results. So this is what I wrote for my central idea statement. I wrote, computers are very helpful for finding information and researching because of their high speed. However, they are limited in providing the correct information every time. So just by looking at this, what is my topic going to be about? And let me get my highlighter, that way we can see it a little bit better. What is my essay going to be about? It's going to be about researching and how they are limited in providing the correct information every time. So even though computers have high speed, they're limited because they don't always provide us with the right information every time. So sometimes you could be researching, let me think. I want to think of something that has two meanings. Okay, so maybe you're looking for a video of a dog barking and you put bark. And when you put bark, maybe a tree pops out for tree bark. So even though you know what you want to research in your head, the computer doesn't know what you want to research. You have to type it in a specific way. So in that sense, it's kind of limited because it can't understand what you want unless you ask it a specific way, which is also the same for when you're talking to Siri or Alexa or Google Home. You have to ask it in a specific way. For example, I was hanging out with my neighbor last weekend. We were playing chalupa outside. And she had her Google Home outside, and she kept trying to turn the volume down to the music. And it took her like 4 tries to say it in the right way so that the Google Home would finally turn the music down. So she knew what she wanted to do. If there was a volume button, she could have just touched it. But since there wasn't, she had to ask it in a specific way so that the computer could process the information and turn the volume down. So computers can be limited because they're not always giving us the correct information, or they're not always doing what we're asking them to do. So in that sense, that's why I chose this topic. So when you're choosing your topic, you want to make sure that you're able to give an example, or you're able to explain it with information. You don't want to just give a reason and then move on to the next reason. You want to make sure you give a reason and you explain the reason, because I'm noticing some students are forgetting about that explaining part or that example part, because you can explain it and give an example. Like, for instance, I can say computers are high speed, but sometimes they don't understand what you're saying. Should I stop there? No, I should say, for example, one time when I was using a computer, X, Y, and Z. So that's how you got to do it. You got to give the reason and then explain it and give an example. You have to show that reason in action. And the best way you can do that is by giving a real life example, something that you've been through, a moment where you were using it. That way you create that personal connection to the topic. Okay? So I'm going to upload this onto the Teams so that you guys can have access to this as well. All right, guys. So for homework, you will develop your central idea statement and draft out your introduction, which is just the hook and mentioning your reasons. Because if you have your central idea statement, you're already 1/3 of the way done with your introduction. Okay? So make sure to reach out to me if you have any questions. I am here to help you. I want you guys to reach out to me, and make sure that you are reading in your spare time. Talk to you guys later. Bye.